Hello, this is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. We're taking a ship up north from Prince Rupert up the Alaska Panhandle. This video is about the main communities along the Alaska Panhandle. A lot of people see the Panhandle by way of big cruise ships, but you can take the Alaska ferries, the Alaska Marine Highway, they call it, up the Alaska Passage. They call it the Inland Passage of the Alaska Panhandle. Just take a look at a few of the pictures along this scenic coast. And anytime you get along the coast, the scenery is always terrific. This is in the early spring, a lot of these photos that I've taken over the years. I'll just share a few of them with you. You can take some side trips and see things like glaciers here. And if you're really lucky, or you take side trips, you'll see some wildlife. This is a big grizzly wading in the water coming up. Mountain goat. These are mountain sheep, different than goats. The sheep have the horned curves. I took this in the middle of a winter scene one time. These are some elk. And some deer, and there's lots of sea life along the coast, of course. This video will tell you more about the ship ride itself. It's a great ride, a very interesting one. So let's jump on board, jump in the camper, and let's take an overview of the Panhandle. Then we'll come back with more videos and stop in at each community and tell you a little more about them. But this video, we're just on the boat ride up the Panhandle. Here I am. I first went to Alaska in the early 1960s, escorting tours for Greyhound bus lines. This is Alaska with the Arctic Ocean in the north and the Pacific Ocean down here in the south. You can see Russia, the Bering Strait. The two countries, the U.S. and Russia, come very close together along the Bering Strait there. We're going to travel the Alaska Panhandle, which is the line of coast of Alaska that runs down southward here. And boats that navigate the islands up and down the Alaska Panhandle go through what they call is the Inside Passage. And the Inside Passage is a very picturesque and tourist-oriented area with communities on some of these islands and along the coastline. And we're going to take a look at some of those along the Alaska Panhandle here. Communities along the Alaska coast are jammed between the ocean and the steep mountains that rise very quickly up from the coast. And there are many scenic places along this coastline. On this trip, we came on the Yellowhead Highway, number 16 here in the bottom right hand of the corner, to Prince Rupert. And we put our camper, our motorhome, on the Alaska Ferry's ship and went up, and we'll show you some of the places we stopped at. The first community north was Ketchican in the Alaska Panhandle. And then we continued on up to Wrangell. And then we continued on to Petersburg. And at Petersburg, we went over to the west past the very small community of Cake, dropped off some supplies there, and continued on to the old Russian capital of Sitka. And from Sitka, we came back inward into the Alaska Panhandle, the Inland Passage, and continued on to the capital of Alaska at Juneau here. And then from Juneau, we finally made our way on up to Skagway, and near Skagway is the community of Haines. Rain is often the order of the day along the coast, but you can get some good weather as well, and it's a very enjoyable ride if you take one of the big cruise ships. There's no doubt about it. It's a way of seeing Alaska that's reasonable and manageable for many, many people. You spend some time in one community, then move on to the next. These Passengers from the cruise ships often overwhelm the small communities, but it's still a great experience for the tourists in the cruise ships. There are no roads up the inland passage, so you have to get there by boat. And there's about one of three ways you can go on an international cruise tour, which brings in thousands of people. Or you can also arrange to have you go up with a smaller cruise line. And I'll tell you a bit about those in a minute. The way that we went up was through one of the public ship organizations, which is either BC Ferries that serves the coast of British Columbia, or the Alaska Marine Highway, which takes you up to the various settlements all along the coast of Alaska. Smaller cruise lines like this one tend to specialize and focus on special things, like National Geographic tours, for example. These cruises specialize in things like education and learning, photography, bear or whale watching, or sea kayaking. The scenery, including looking at glaciers like this one, can be pretty exciting. Bringing along your camera and a good telephoto lens is also helpful. For example, look at the white head in the lower left-hand corner of this picture. It is an eagle sitting on a tree branch in the distance. Let's see what he looks like after I take his picture with my telephoto lens. Aha, there he is now, a beauty. A telephoto lens can really do wonders for your photographs. Here's some pictures of some seals, and I've taken a few bear pictures as well. They're just great photos. We just boarded one of the ships going up the inland passage. Alaska has a lot of great stories to go along with its scenery. Maybe you saw the video I did on the big shipwreck here in the inland passage. It is in the Alaska Yukon section of my website under the ship's name, the SS Princess Sophia. This was a Russia-controlled country at one time, and you can see evidences of this in several communities. Then there is the indigenous story as well, with its many totem poles, masks, and other parts of its rich culture. There are artists here in Alaska as well. Look at this creative painting of the Jammin' Salmon, with the guitar in the middle, the bass fiddle over on the left there, and the violin on the right. They are indeed the rock stars of the rainforest. And this is a train you can take out of Skagway that runs north into Canada along one of the main routes of the Klondike Gold Rush. Let's take a look around this ship while we're on it. We are now on the Alaska Marine Highway, and this is the ship that we're on. A nice big ship. It carries a lot of people and vehicles. Very spacious, but sometimes it has to jam the cars on the lower deck like sardines in a tin can. There were nice seats like these upstairs, and even a separate television watching room for both the kids and adults. We sat, relaxed, read, and munched on snacks as we made our way up the inland passage. There were a lot of nice murals painted all over the walls throughout this particular ship. You could spend a lot of time just really enjoying the artist's work. Even the tables in the dining room had nice pictures like these of animals. It all fitted the inland passage of Alaska. You can arrange to get a separate sleeping room, but we chose to do the cheap seats, like sleeping at the back of the ship here on these chairs. Some nights we slept on benches and seats like this. Other times We had to sleep on the floor in areas where we probably weren't supposed to be at, according to this sign. Sleep in the aft, I guess, wherever that's at. We didn't know. But we were never bothered and slept sound as the ship rolled on through the night. Apparently, they do have trouble at times with stowaways hitching a free ride to the next community. But once the ship sets sail, what can you do when a person is too broke to pay for their ticket? This video was kind of an overview of the Alaska Panhandle. So follow us along and we'll stop at each of the communities as we head northward. If you like what you saw, hit the subscribe button. That tells you when we'll be posting more videos as we work our way up the Panhandle. And so jump aboard the old camper, join me, and let's go see some other videos of this trip that we made into Alaska. This is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. So long for now.